speaker, but nobody would say George Bush or Gore or any of those guys really grab a room. It's almost a lost art form.
Well, Reagan, I think they called him the great communicator because he had an ability. I believe he had a Democratic Congress or Senate or whatever it was, and he had an ability to get shit through because he was such a wonderful speaker. Clinton was good, too. Clinton was a charismatic guy, man. You can't not love Clinton.
Maybe that, but you never remember their speeches. Those speeches are rarely quoted as much as some of the other people from the 60s.
I don't know. Part of that's probably because we're not putting out good people. Part of it's also because with the Internet and with 50 channels and with cable, there's so many more outlets. It's almost like when you said something in 1960, there were 3 stations and the radio station broke into it.
Right.
There wasn't all distractions of scandal. You imagine fucking Marilyn Monroe, the 2 brothers, how fast that would have made the papers today? But back then, they laid off. They didn't photograph FDR in a wheelchair. It's like everything you said, everybody watched.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the media didn't attack you a certain way. So I just think it was a different way of communicating back then as well.
It's also interesting to me that you're a guy who says, I don't speak much outside myself, and I see you doing that quite a bit when you want to. You know, It goes apart from some of the things that you say about yourself.
Well, like when I say I don't always obsessively talk about my own life, but if I talk about politics or whatever, I just try to skewer it honestly. I guess maybe my own honest feelings about things are I'm not always right. I know that. I'm an ass sometimes. I'm a self-important idiot. I fucking trash things on the radio, and I'm wrong. And my opinion is wrong. But it's honest. You know what I mean? Who the fuck said you always have to be right? As long as you're telling the truth as you see it. You know, I mean, that's all I have, I should say.
All right, let's, so folks going over here, and we'll take some questions for Jimmy and get this thing going. Just walk on over here to the microphone. Now you've been listening. Everyone's a little fucking nervous now, aren't you? These are all the people in the dark making those moaning noises.
I've just put them to sleep. And they're all like, all right, look, melatonin.
It always takes one. Here you go. What's your name, man?
Hey, Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Hey, Jimmy, one of your first big breaks was with Dice.
Yes.
And I noticed listening to the show and a lot of the replays, especially when the guys would tear into him a little bit after the meltdown he had. You're always very quiet about that. Is there any animosity with the way things shook down, knowing he gave you such a big stage to work with, yet he went shitty on you?
Well, what happened with Dice was Andrew. I had a weird thing with him. My loyalty is with Opie and Anthony. Because I've been with them for so long, and what they've done for me is, I never fail to recognize what the guys have done. And it's not out of politeness. It's for real. I mean, they come to my book signing. They don't make money from that. They get nothing from that other than supporting me, and they like to meet the fan. You know what I mean? So my loyalty's with those guys. Andrew never bashed me, personally. I know what he was doing with the radio show is just trying to make himself, I think, just trying to get something started to go on Stern. It makes me sad more than angry what happened because I loved him. I mean, he changed my life. It would be hard for me to bash Dice if he attacked me, I would attack him back.
Have you talked to him since that happened?
Yes, I've seen him once. Yeah. I saw him in L.A. What made me angry about Andrew though was I was touring with him and Jim Florentine, and then he stopped calling me back. We were supposed to do a date in Seattle. I just never heard from him again, and I didn't know why. So that kind of pissed me off. And then 2 years later, I saw him in Los Angeles. And we said hello. We hugged. And I'm like, what happened? He's like, I was going through my divorce. I was not good at talking. And it was over a joke. He thought I took a Christopher Reeve joke from him. And I'm like, man, I'm a comic. All I have is my integrity. What was the joke? And he goes, it's not a long time ago. Maybe I'm wrong, man. I apologize. It was, I was in a weird place. I'm like, tell me the joke. And I forget what the joke was. But our jokes on Christopher Reeve were completely different. So it was like, maybe it was something else. You know what I mean? But I didn't steal a joke. But I have a really weird feelings about Dice. It makes me sad that it happened like that. Do you
think some comics always need that feud, though, to drag them? I remember Dice used to fight with Kinnison, and they both fought with different people. And it just seems like sometimes comics need that almost like rappers. They got to have somebody to be pissed at.
Yeah, I just think that he didn't need it with Opie and Anthony. Because those guys really loved him. I mean, they really did. Opie would hang out at his house. I mean, they were friends, off-the-air friends.
They just came from left field. There's no reason to...
Completely shocked. I mean, and this is stuff you'll hear on the air, but it's something I remember happening in person. And what the fuck is he doing? Why? It was confusion more than anything. And he said he was angry because Opie never called him back when he called. Dice said, I want to talk to Opie before I go on the show. because Opie's dad had been killed. And he said, I can't just go on and do the radio. But Opie wasn't calling anybody back then. He wasn't thinking of being courteous and calling a guy back. He was just trying to get through every day. So, you know, that to me, it's made me sad that Dice took that route.
And it seems like friendships are really almost everything to you. It seems like some of your comic friends are the longest relationships of your life.
Yeah, I mean, well, again, I'm doing comedy 18 years now, almost. So it's like those are the guys I've been seeing for years.
Mm-hmm.
But there's that weird bond, man. You just, my friends, I don't see each other often. I'll literally, it's funny, I'll be in the cellar one night. The next night, I'm in Dallas. He's in Los Angeles. He's in fucking Florida.
Right.
And I don't see them for a month. I'm like, oh, yeah, you moved to L.A. Fuck, I forgot. But, yeah, they're my longest relationships. I mean, and I'll always probably know Dice, unless something ugly happens. But I don't see it as happening. To me, I'm hoping everybody makes up someday. I'm like a little codependent whore.
Beyond your comedy friends, do you ever talk to people that you grew up with and have them go, Jesus, I hadn't seen you for years, and you know, they're on HBO tonight is that the kid, he and I used to blow each other underneath the porch. You know, that's got to be weird. Because I have the feeling you don't look all that different from when you're like 6 and 7.
Probably not. Nor do I behave that differently. Give me those ribs. Fucking, that was a sitcom little comeback. Fucking head should pop out of a laughing box sometimes when I talk. Yeah, man, there's certain people I got sober with that I still see and still talk to. But again, comedy's become so all-encompassing for me that I've lost touch with most people because 7 nights a week I'm doing that, and my whole life is that. And I don't mean that to be, you know, pseudo deep, you know, it's my life, but it really is. I'm obsessed, and I have been since I started. And it didn't wane; it got more and more and more. So the relationships that I've maintained are comedian relationships, even from way back when. Bobby Levy, one of my closest friends, Florentine. Florentine got me my first paid gig in comedy when he was jamming Jim, and he had long blonde hair, and I'm like, who is this horse's ass? He was just like a dumb Dee Snider-looking guy, and he got me my first paid gig in 1990, and he's been one of my closest friends. So those are relationships I've kept.
You know, you got sober so early, and now you say you struggle with the sexual addictions. Any of the other addictions ever come back to haunt you? Ever, you know, still pressed about alcohol and drugs, or? Well,
the stuff with alcohol and drugs is more. Those are just symptoms of what the real problem is. It doesn't scare me the most, though. Sexual addiction is destructive, but alcohol, for me, there's a risk of blackout and killing people or suicide. Like those are the ones that are terrifying to me. I mean, the idea of doing that is that's what I'm most afraid of. Is I'm going to pick up again.
Do you have to work that all the time, or you feel like it's in the background a little bit?
I should. Yeah. I should be much more vigilant, because I think above all I'd be happier if I was paying more attention to the spiritual side of my life. Because, I mean, spirituality is just about giving to other people and caring for other people, and I've neglected a lot of that through this obsession through work, which really is a self-obsession.
And yet, it seems like, and I know it seems weird, but you brought up the term spiritual, a lot of your stuff, that's your sacred place. You on stage, you in front of a mic.
In my life, I should be more. I should be more. I mean, I pray every night. I should pray in the morning. And again, whatever religion you are, whatever, man. But I just got to say thanks at the end of the night for fucking being sober.
Right.
You know, I mean, I'm very lucky. I mean, I got started when I was 18. I'm very fucking lucky.
And is that also, when you're saying this gift that you got to be funny, do you also equate that when you're writing? Do you feel like that's almost a spiritual thing, or?
No, it's funny. I don't think of it like that. I guess I should, but to me, it's been, I think, more of a reactionary survival thing, like not in a melodramatic way. Yeah, but it's been more of a reactive thing. Even though I know it's a gift. Always been, she doesn't like me, you know. But nobody fucks the comic, man. I mean, after a certain point, they start to. But at times, you really do just feel like the big-nosed clowns. They can go home and fuck their boyfriend. It really is irritating.
Hey, my name's Phil.
Hi, Phil.
Jim, you're brilliant, and Ron, no one gives a better interview.
I was thinking the same exact thing. I was thinking this was really going great.
It really is. We are in awe of fucking Ron and the interviewing skills, man. It really is a major... It's something to watch you just be able to fucking pull things out of people. Until you interviewed kids, I would have nothing to say to them. I really wouldn't. You know what I mean? Yeah. AIDS, AIDS. You know, and you fucking are so good at that, man. Yeah, I feel the same way, Ron.
I was wondering what art you like doing better, coming up with 5 hours of new material every morning on the radio, playing off impromptu with a handful of guys, or going on stage night after night doing similar material in front of different audiences, trying to make them laugh?
It's the same. What they are is they're just different. I almost said, I caught myself. I almost said different branches of the same tree. But I realized the only way to redeem myself would be to cut my throat. But it's the same thing. It's just about being funny. It's like when I'm in the room, maybe it's wrong to do it, but I'm playing to Opie and Anthony. I can't think of what people are thinking outside, which maybe probably makes me not as good of a radio guy as I should be. Mm-hmm. But I'm playing to my buddies. I'm talking to my buddies. That's what I'm thinking of, is what they are thinking.
And that's because you have Opie to be the broadcaster, to be able to think other people are paying attention to this, because you don't put yourself outside that.
No, I mean, and he's fucking